Hello, Mark Ridler's Never Drink at Your podcast. Today, haven't had my wife Cheryl on for a while, so welcome, Cheryl.
Hello.
So we actually are having some tea and cookies Cheryl just made, and very grateful for that. And that's kind of what this podcast episode's about. Is there's always something to be grateful for. Sometimes it's harder to find than others. And to start with, actually, we're grateful that we still have a house. We had large hail last night from ping pong to golf ball size hail for about 20 minutes. And
Yeah, our car did not do so well, and
no,
neither did our truck. So,
no, but we're very
oh well.
grateful because on the house, actually, it was better than I thought it was going to be. We
Oh
only had
yeah,
two windows broken, and actually, the siding and that kind of thing held up much better than I thought.
there's holes, but
Yeah,
they're
not
not
bad.
major ones.
Not for as noisy as it was.
Because
And
we were looking at about like this.
yeah, they were big hail, and
And it was like about half an hour's worth.
I can't imagine if you're outside in that.
Yeah,
So,
I feel for any. Well, there was some poor sods driving by.
yeah,
We were like,
yeah.
oh, you can come in here, but there's no place.
Yeah. So, but we're grateful because actually it's a beautiful day today. We just got back from going to this local museum that they have an open house for the county residents for free for the weekend, which was good. And it's a beautiful, cool day.
It was a nice.
And yeah, actually, homemade cookies. Got to be grateful for that always. Cheryl makes good cookies. So, but there is times, and anybody who's been listening to my podcasts or listening and watching knows that Cheryl and I've been going through a lot of things, and it's sometimes in life it's harder to find stuff you're grateful for, but it's just something I heard actually today on Facebook, I think it was, when Betty White had been a guest on Queen Latifah's show, I believe, and she asked her a question. What was one thing she learned that had helped her through her life? And it was something Betty White's mom had told her, that you can either look at the negative or the positive. And she said, you always want to look for the negative. And then Betty said, sometimes it's tough, but she said her mom always said, there's always got to be something around you that's going on, that's going right. And she said that it helped her greatly through her life. And that's good wisdom. I think that's very good wisdom because it can be very, very dark. And I think there's a lot of people going through dark things in this country, maybe the world too, because we got a lot of things always going on in this world. And but no, you just we're so grateful, we're so blessed, I should say, in this country for what we have. And I think we take a lot of it for granted because I have a gentleman who says, well, that's first world problems. And it is to a point, because some of the stuff we worry about isn't even thought of as being a really concern in third world countries. But yeah, so, people are struggling. And that's one reason why I do start this Dreamcatcher podcast and continue to do it. And if you didn't see, I'm going to do on the July 26th. I'm going to be grateful that we're going to do the 200th episode. So Cheryl and I we'll put our thinking caps on, because we were just talking about romper room earlier today, I believe it was. And
well, ping pong balls, if you're old like we are.
Kangaroo.
If you remember from Captain Kangaroo.
Yeah.
That's what outside looked like.
It did. It very much like when Mr. Moose, and we're definitely dating ourselves. And I'm grateful that we were around when that kind of television programming was on.
Well, it was gentle and sweet.
Yeah. And we don't find much of that on TV
mostly
anymore.
Snark.
Yeah, it is. We always have to have the competition, and we don't do the collaboration. We don't do it. We don't do the families that are in the United States now that are still there. We had all these really awesome shows when we were growing up, and I mean, yeah, they were shows. I mean, but they highlighted what was actually going on in the families in the world and in the United States. But we don't seem to think that family still exists. And yeah, it might be different, and it might be two men, two women, whatever. It's love. I'm not going to get into that, but I mean, traditional, I think, is still preferable. But if the kids are being loved and taken care of, I think that's the most important part. But we don't ever seem to put that on TV anymore. And we were actually watching old commercials, and it's amazing how we had really upbeat commercials in the 70s, didn't we, Cheryl? Yeah. And we were grateful for the commercials, actually. Yeah. We listened to a Dr. Pepper commercial. Cheryl the Pepper, I'm So
Was never one of my favorite
nah,
drinks. So.
not mine either.
And
For
it's even
change.
worse form, and that was a trend for a
Yeah.
while too.
But we're grateful that we grew up then, and we both had parents that were very traditional upbringings, and
Sort of.
pretty much compared to nowadays. I mean, there's still lots of families out there were traditional.
Well, my dad was a single mom.
Yeah. Well.
So.
Yeah. So, but we just need to be grateful for what we have, but we need to be making it so people can be more grateful for the situations they have. And I just know that there's so many people out there struggling, and that's one reason why, like I said, why I'm doing the Dreamcatcher podcast, because we need to make this world better. We need to make collaboration. We need to make love be, in style again, not this stuff with the violence. I mean, how many crime shows can we have? I mean, CSI.
Yeah.
I mean, CSI's been on for decades, it seems like, and we're gonna do Origins.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, guys. You mean, yeah, okay, okay, got it.
Not that we really watch, but I just remember the commercial.
But I mean, come on. I mean, there's no other things out there you can't feature. And I guess maybe we're meant to do that, to start featuring people on the podcast. That's one thing great about the podcast is we can do things like that, feature people. And that's what I'm looking for also too. People that are making a difference in the world and in kids' lives, because they are our future. They're our future for this world. And we just need to be more for what we put out there. And like I've said in past podcasts, I don't know how, because I don't remember really seeing much for murder stuff when I was growing up. It was nice shows.
It was all, and they still do it to a certain extent, but it was after 9:00, and now it's
all the time.
It's earlier,
and we have.
And there are things, as an adult, I would really be reticent to discuss with a child. They're not ready for something.
They're not that maturity yet.
I mean, yes, you can approach the subject, but to really get it, if they're seeing it in television, and just
let the kids have their innocence as long as possible, because kids grow up way too fast, and they're not really, I believe, ready to do that. And I think that also is very detrimental long term for them. I mean, I'm still a big kid at heart, and Cheryl would probably agree with that. Isn't that right, Cheryl?
Yeah.
So, but we just need to make sure that we're putting out more quality, things, and we can all be grateful for that. But yeah, I'm not going to get any further on that. But these people that we have, people in this area that are having problems paying for their children's lunches, and it just seems like in Central Nebraska that shouldn't be. And I'm grateful that I've really never, I mean, growing up, never was hungry ever. I had my mom make great meals.
I ate a lot of bread and a lot of rice and a lot of potatoes.
Well, you were from a bigger family.
My mom could stretch anything.
Yeah.
But I never went to bed hungry.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So, but I mean, and with what Cheryl and I have been going through, we're very grateful that we have each other, because sometimes that's been about, I don't know if Cheryl might be not so grateful when I'm around. So, yeah, she wants to kick my butt, but, but we're grateful, and we've been married over 33 years. So, and I must be doing something right.
I played the fifth.
Smart. So, but no, we're grateful. We're grateful because there's a lot of people that don't have the marriage that we have, and of course we have our arguments, don't we, Cheryl?
Oh God, but it's one of those things that at the base of everything, there's respect and kindness, and we've had some people in our family that have not experienced that, and it's really saddens me because they're wonderful people, and why? But it's not my decision, and
but I mean, there's so many things. Like I said, the fact that we're able to do this podcast, I'm very grateful. We have a nice MacBook Pro. We're having awesome tea. That was actually a friend of ours got started. We'd never heard of it. It's Constant Comment.
This is kind of actually a tribute to a little old lady that we both used to work with.
Yeah, name was Jane,
was
Jane Olsen. She was
so kind to both of us.
And grateful for.
We even have one of the cups that she used to pull out.
Yeah,
when she passed away, her children gave us the cup. And
yes,
I know that sounds silly to a lot of people, but it's like a lot of things. When you have an older person that's having to move into the home or downsize, then the kids get so irritated because everything they look at is something, but it's a memory. And,
Yep.
you're not going to get rid of the memory because you still have the memory, but, sometimes you just forget about something, then you open up the cabinet and there's that cup. So it brings back some pleasant memories. And
Yeah.
so
Well, just like these cups. These cups are actually
from the ball pay
ball paid
in,
in out in
which
Estes
doesn't
Park.
exist
Well,
anymore
it
in
has a
high
new name.
fashion. Yeah.
It's Seven Keys or something.
Something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which we're very grateful. We've been over the years able to travel out there because that is one place we'd like to stay. But I'm grateful that my family actually had a cabin, kind of house, military housing that was left over in the 50s. Really wasn't a cabin, but
It
but it
was
got us
just
out
one
to
step up of a little cardboard box, but
pretty close. But it was good because it got us out to Estes Park, and we got to travel and make memories. So very grateful that my grandparents and his brother and wife had the foresight to buy that in the 1950s, and have made a lot of memories. And Estes Park still seems like almost like a second hometown. I mean, it's definitely changing. I don't know for the best, but it is changing, and changes definitely the
it's
constant.
life.
It
Yeah.
is. So
Don't like it too
so
bad. It's
but
gonna
we've
happen.
had the opportunity to travel, and we will again. Just right now where we're not able to. It's kind of, I think, made us more aware of what we're grateful for. Used to think of this stuff that it's like, and now we're more grateful when we can buy groceries, when we can have a regular meal, when Cheryl can have some wine.
Mm.
Me too. So but
Well, yeah, because and for me, wine is a little different than most people because I can't take pain pills and I have arthritis, and I so that is one thing that helps me sometimes to relax the muscles.
only
I
occasionally.
never said every day.
Yes. So, but no, we're grateful for that, and we're also grateful for all the people that have been supporting us through this whole
Oh,
thing. I
that is
mean,
one
it's
thing that has taught me a lot. That it's
yes,
been a
so many people
it's
out there that
such
are
kindness.
got our backs, and some surprised me actually very much, and
Well, that's like when I had cancer. There were people that I thought would show up for me didn't, and then there were people that I would have never guessed would have showed up for me, and they did, and it was humbling in some cases,
mhm.
and surprising, and like you say, you become very grateful for the help and the kindness that you've been shown, and so
Well, and like I was talking to the kid that was on Instagram, I think he had younger kid, and he had cancer. I'm not for sure what, and he actually had a pick line in both arms, and he was taking the pick line out of the one arm, or actually they'd taken it out, and he was taking off the bandage and everything, and he was so excited that he was going to actually take a shower with just normal.
I identify because when I
So
had my port removed, I was so happy. I hated that thing. It made me gag when I couldn't sleep unless I was sitting up. And so, yeah, there are certain things when you're ill that you look forward to that people just go, huh?
yeah.
But,
Well, and like we said, cancer gives you clarity, and
oh,
other
yeah,
things that are that serious because you immediately um,
all the
you know
crap
what's
goes away.
important
You
and what's
know
not
exactly.
important,
Yes, you know exactly
and the
what.
people, and that is actually something to be grateful for too. I mean, you wouldn't think cancer and stuff like that would make you grateful, but it does. And that was another thing his kid said he was going to go get a real meal, and I know that's
Yeah, I can identify with that as well because I had E. coli during the time from third world country.
wherever you got that.
I have no idea. And I had to take some special pills and stuff. And the oncologist had to look through and figure it out with something special. I actually took an anti-malaria drug, um, but during the time I thought it was just the chemo, and so
Well,
did
you had
she.
her stumped. She didn't know
Yeah,
what you
and
had.
so and all I could eat was Rice Chex cereal. And to this day, I look at the box and go, ugh.
No, I thought you said yum.
Well, it's one of those things when it either comes out one end or the other. You know, So I was real grateful that I could actually eat real food.
Yes, yes. So there's a lot of things that we're grateful, and I think a lot of times if you just sit down, because we're in such a hurry nowadays that we don't realize what we have. I mean, you have the house, you have the car you're going to probably go to work in. You had probably water to take a nice warm shower in the morning. You were able to brush your teeth. You probably had a great breakfast. You probably have coffee, which is very thing I'm grateful for in the morning. Yeah, very much.
Well, yeah, because you could go down the list, and I have clean water to drink. I don't have someone who's you're not in a war zone. You're not, you're
Hmm.
sleeping inside. That's a big thing. You don't realize just how much. of a gift that is until it's taken away from you.
Mhm. It is. I mean, it's just, and that's one thing talking around the world to people. We have it so good, even with the problems we have going on in this country now, we still have it good. I talked to this gentleman who is awesome. He wants me to call him David, but he's in Pakistan, and I mean, he's got KFC, which is he said was his favorite thing after pizza, but he can't come to the United States because we can't let anybody from Pakistan in the United States, which I did not realize. But he's a young, awesome kid, and knows English pretty well. He's actually going to be a guest coming up on the podcast, but he helps
He feeds
kids.
people.
He feeds
Yeah.
people every day. I mean, he makes meals up for these orphan kids, and it's just like it's too bad that in this world that we put up a thing that all the people from Pakistan or whatever country it is, they're all this way. He's nothing that way. And Cheryl and I were talking about it last night. Yeah, the governments may be that way, and there may be people that are that way, and that were kind of
Of
a
course,
trouble.
there's
But we have them in the United States too.
and different,
Yeah. And is that making things better when we don't let them into like the United States? I don't know where else he may not be able to. I could come over there, he said, but he couldn't come here. But he's going to try and teach me because he knows English and he knows the language they speak over there also. And he was being ornery yesterday, trying to teach me because I like learning.
You weren't doing the accent quite
I know
right.
I was not. I was grateful that he wanted to teach me, and I got a test coming up too. So, and he will do it. But he's awesome, and it's just too bad that he can't come over here and be right here in our house. And I pray someday that he will, and I know he does too. And and he's last night or yesterday when I was talking to him, he's like, because we were supposed to have stormy weather, and which we did. And he says, well, if you have tornadoes, can you take a video of it? It's like, no, probably not.
Has absolutely no
I don't.
idea
I'm
what
not
a tornado
not
is.
one of those out there. I'm not the ones that going to chase them. I'm either trying to get away from it, or I'm down in the basement, or somewhere shelter.
Well, we were in the basement.
We were, yes, we definitely were, because it was very noisy when it was hailing like that.
Well, and when you have that kind of stuff, you have some of the other.
And we were just waiting because the way it was hitting the windows, I was just waiting for more broken glass, so we wanted to be away from the windows. Thankfully, it wasn't that
Only
much.
one window.
So there's so many things to be grateful for. I mean, like looking out right now, I'm looking out at a beautiful day. One thing, we've had a lot of rain this year, so everything's nice and green. Grateful that we're healthy. That makes me think of our guy that mows our lawn. His son has got throat cancer. I pray that he's getting better. But last time I talked to the gentleman who does it, who wasn't.
We haven't seen Dad for a while.
Well, our grass is getting quite tall, and I told him that,
care.
and that's fine. No, I told him he had to do what he needed to do for his son, and we have two bunnies that we're very grateful for that are pets, basically.
Well, the deer like it too.
Yeah, which is very cool because they're out there grazing, and I think that's having the wildlife out there is just so neat. And I haven't seen turkeys for a while. We have about 52 turkeys, but I don't think they would help with mowing the grass. But the bunnies it's getting so tall, and that the bunnies have trails through them, and they have to stand up to look around. Otherwise, you just see their ears. But it's grateful. I mean, I'm grateful to live in Nebraska. I'm grateful to live right where, I mean, it's so peaceful. We have nice neighbors. We have people that help you take care. It's pretty awesome. And I know I had a lady the other day. She's like, "What's in Nebraska?" And which is kind of the normal response. I'm not going to tell you anything because we don't want, it's the best, one of the best kept secrets. I think the Central Plains, and there are other places. I mean, I think Michigan, we have friends up there that Michigan's pretty much just a lot more trees than we have. But Southwest Michigan is pretty awesome too. And I can tell it's the same mindset, in the country there.
Well, I think the only real difference is that if you're in an urban or a rural area, and it depends on your interests. Mm-hmm. I can take a walk. I don't care. But I don't have to go to Starbucks every 10 minutes, and I don't. I like the theater, but I don't have to go every week. And so there's the difference that way. Yeah. But it's what makes the world go around. Everybody has the opportunity to be who they are.
Yep, they do,
and that's important. That everybody should be allowed that.
I agree. I very much agree. So there's so many things to be grateful for, and I think that's one thing I was getting ready to start earlier is maybe write them down. It's like when you're grateful for something, make a list. It's like I'm grateful for having pizza, like David. He's grateful, and I think you'll be amazed how many things in a day's time you'll be grateful for. And it's like I have more things that I'm grateful for than suck in my life. And that'd be going back to Betty White's mom's theory. There are things going on, in your life that are positive, and and yeah, it still can be tough. It can be tough when there's things,
Well,
life's happening.
sometimes it's just one thing, because I know when I was in the middle of treatment and felt really wretched and I couldn't leave the house because I couldn't drive, I was, oh, I'm in a nice bed right now. Or, you know, my husband's going to come home early today. I mean, it was just, I picked one thing,
Hmm.
and that was what I focused on, because there was so much of, I just don't feel good. You know, everything is falling out. I mean, I had to shave my head because my hair was falling
Yeah,
out.
yeah, I get that.
Yeah, and and I'm not one that is overly vain about that. I know some people it's like a tragedy, but I was like, I'm tired of leaving piles. But you
Yeah,
know,
you were losing your hair a lot, that's
yeah,
for sure.
and so it's just I focused on the one thing I could find.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, and that's a lot of times that's what you have to do to get through some tough spots, because life, we all go through tough spots.
Okay.
We may have smooth sailing for a while, but I guarantee you there will be those other times again.
Well, it's one of those things where you sit down and you talk with someone and you get to know them, and you kind of, some people make your jaw drop because
Been through so
how
much.
are you still upright?
Hmm.
I mean, we reference a friend of ours that has had been through so much, and right now she's in a glory hole that is so wonderful.
Yeah, she's
She's
having a
achieved a
great time now.
dream that she's had for decades.
Yes.
So we are so excited for her. Yeah, but she really had to fight,
Oh boy, did she. She's a
and
she's a fighter.
one of our friends, he's had so much go on, just so much, and he is trying to keep his mother going and his family going, and his wife has been really ill, and it's just been one of those things where, and he's usually always cheerful, which I admire him for. I really
Hmm.
do.
Hmm. No, it's a lot of times it's a decision, not
Yeah, it
it's a decision
is.
you make
It
over and
is.
over again to see the gratefulness, the bright side of life, and yeah, because we all go through it. Everybody's going through something, but everybody, sometimes it's tough, has something to be grateful for, and somebody's probably saying, well, what about the people on the streets? It would be tough, and I don't deny that. But there's got to be something that. Oh, our bunny's going by, Cheryl.
Yes, I saw him.
But yeah, there's got to be maybe somebody helps them out for the day. I mean, I feel for them, and that's another reason why we need to get more things for these people to do. We need to make sure that we are not overlooking them, because as a society, I believe we're overlooking them because we
Well,
don't know what to do. So we just keep, like we were always saying, when the people give them food and put them on a video,
oh,
and
that
it's
ticks
just
me
like
off.
that
Oh,
is
that
just
ticks me off.
self-serving,
It is.
and I feel sorry for them because yeah, they have food
They
then.
will do it because they need that meal.
They will, and some of these people do try to help them further, and I that's and some people don't want, but I believe most of the people and most of the people do want help, but there are people on there that are have out, drinking, have drugs. There's other reasons, but there are some people that don't know what to do, and that's one thing in this country. It is so easy to go from having a house to homeless. We don't have the safety net we kind of had when we had the family. We had so many, the family unit, and the family unit, which we have to rebuild. Doesn't have to be the way it was, but has to be rebuilt to make sure that we take care of each other. And I think that is to a point, um, because just when you had your cancer, so many people reached out
Yeah, they did.
that we were very surprised at. But we need to make sure that we take care of those people and not exploit them. And but
Well, that's just it. It's things that you're surprised at. Like, where do you go to the bathroom?
yeah,
Where do you go to get a shower? And if you stink, you're not going to get a job. So
you're
things
not.
aren't going to not get better. So things get worse. And then to be able to sleep the whole night without worrying about someone bashing your head in or taking your things. I mean, these are concerns that, when you're indoors, you don't have.
Well, we're very grateful, and we take them for,
Yeah.
we just take them.
Aside from having a meal,
Yep.
and then there's the attitude that you deserve to be down here because you're lazy, or you're a drunk, or
Hmm.
whatever. And you know I saw a deal, and I could see it so easily happening. It was a young woman, and is obviously she had education, and they were speaking with her about why she was on the street. And she says, well, I had a really good job. And she said, I got sick and I got stage 4 breast cancer. And they got rid of me after a few months because the insurance to pay for it, my employer didn't want to pay for that anymore.
Something that
Basically,
we
is what happened.
really need to work on in
And
this
so she
country.
said, and so I was having to come up with, $1 million. I didn't have it, so I went through everything that I had saved: my house, my car, everything. And she said, I'm sort of okay right now, but I have nothing. And she said, and my parents are gone. I didn't have any siblings. I'm out on the street. And she said, and I have really no way to advance myself because people aren't going to, I've tried, but they find out that I have had that advanced cancer, and they won't touch me with a 10-foot pole. So what do I do?
Yeah.
And she says, and I'm not well enough to stand on my feet all day and do, McDonald's. She says, I'd be willing to. If I could, I would,
Yeah.
But, those jobs, they make you stand, and she couldn't do it. And I was just horrified through the whole thing because it was obvious this poor woman had tried everything she could think of. And the guy that was talking with her was just stunned as I was. It's not laziness. That's the one thing that really bothers me when I hear about all these
Me too.
things.
We had a gentleman just a little bit ago, that said it was laziness.
Yes, there is that faction. And I'm not going to deny that, because we've actually known someone who didn't work at all and had more money and more everything than we did at the point that we knew them. But that's not always the norm. It really is not.
No, it isn't. And that's one thing I'm grateful for. When we were born, when we grew up, that the government wasn't in healthcare, because it actually was affordable. It actually was. I don't know, better.
Semi-affordable, but yeah.
It's compared to now. It's not really affordable for most people, and the Affordable Care Act doesn't help that at all. What is it? 2 out of 3 bankruptcies are from healthcare, medical expenses. That right there says there's
the first couple of years, the insurance companies didn't know the tap dance to get around. They took away the pre-existing condition, but they started coming up with all.
Well, now they took away. You got to go to this hospital. You got to use this doctor because this doctor's not going to go to that hospital. And
then somebody has the surgery, and they give you anesthetic before you go in, to kind of level you out, so they don't have to worry about someone getting upset and running through the ER screaming. So they do. They dope you up before they dope you up, and then you get in there and you're supposed to sit up and ask the anesthesiologist if they're covered, and then that's not going to happen.
Nope. No, and we were both. I mean, our premium went from like $300 a month, which was doable, to like $3,000 a month when the Affordable Care Act came in.
$3,800.
Yeah, and I mean, they make you have to be subsidized by the government, which is us, but nobody seems to think that. But it's just like anytime the government gets involved where they don't belong, and where they do belong, they don't do it. They're supposed to be running the country. They're sucking at that.
We're talking about gratitude today. So.
Yes, we are. I'm grateful that I got, and it's just like I'm grateful we went to college when we did, because the government got involved there, and then the tuition went up so high you can't afford it. I mean, it was when we went.
Well, and it's, aside from being cost prohibitive, what advantage does it really give you?
Well, now, yeah, but when we went, it was actually still, because we didn't have what's going on nowadays. But I'm grateful. I mean, it was $29 a credit hour when I was there. You can't even touch it close to that. And
you can't even buy a textbook.
Well, yeah, I mean, things have gone up, but not that much. But the government got in, and
at the other end, when you've got the degree that it's going to pay, but even when we finished,
it's not worth it.
It was my degrees were worth anything.
So I'm grateful that we have YouTube and things like that, because
and love somebody, but
But
as far as getting anything out of it,
you can get almost a college education through things like YouTube and the like. And I'm grateful for that. But I would also be more grateful that if the government started doing what they are supposed to do. And I'm not going to go any further than that.
Well,
because
we legislate everything to death. And then it's,
on purpose. It's
well,
control.
And then it's not, it's if you have money, and then if you don't.
Yeah.
And there's that, and that's been.
I'm just grateful I grew up when I did. And there's things that are going on now too. And I think maybe it's people are waking up, I think, to this, that we need to get the government out where they don't belong. They don't legislate to businesses. They don't legislate. They're supposed to take care of our government. That is what they're here for. and they don't do it. They lose trillions of dollars. And another thing, and then hire more IRS agents. And it's just like, yep, I think we need to turn that around. I think we need to turn those agents around and have us audit the government. Why don't we audit the government?
Well,
Well, we should. They work for us. We don't work for them.
every business has to.
Yeah, it's time to start finding where that money's at. If you did that in a business, you'd probably go to jail. Why are these people not able to? Why are these people not being audited and finding out where that money's going? Um, Time to take our power back. And I'm grateful for I've gotten to that point where I'm taking my power back. I don't put up with near as much things as I used to. I used to let things slide. I used to do it because I wanted people to like me. And there's a lot of things that I've become very grateful that I have got that mindset. And and that I'm grateful that I got to try to start talking, because I've said this many times in the podcast. I didn't talk at all when I was younger, so very very little. So I'm grateful for that. Grateful for Cheryl, and I met in college. So I think she's grateful for that most of the time. Maybe
Some
days, yeah. So anything else, Cheryl, you want to add to that before we end the podcast?
Well, not really. I mean, I just feel like it's you get so much of that, and they're even doing snarky things about commercials. That was the I can't think of the name. Flo. She's the salesperson.
It's that insurance. I can't remember what it is. Progressive, I think. Yeah.
And they're standing in front of this beautiful lake, and the guy's standing there, and then all of a sudden there's somebody. She goes, "Are you done?" And then she says, "I'm manifesting gratitude," and blah blah blah, and they have become buzzwords, and it is annoying, and it is one of those things where, yes, it can be done to a toxic level, but I think that's kind of anything. But if you're in the middle of something that's really difficult and hard, besides saying a prayer or 10 or 20, and leaning on your family, for me, like I say, I just focused on, these sheets are so soft, and it feels so nice to lay here or look at the sunshine. Just one thing can make it easier for you to get through.
Yeah. One thing, me. Okay. On that, we better maybe end before she says something that she might not want.
Regret?
Yeah.
No.
So But anyway, we have so many things to be grateful for, and sometimes it's hard to find. But you like Betty White's mom. There's always something going good around you, and you gotta focus on that. So.
And put yourself in someone else's shoes. That what you have is what they are praying for. So.
And I'm very grateful for all of you on this podcast. For everybody that listens to it on the traditional Spotify, Apple Music, wherever, and for the people who also listen and watch on YouTube channel, Dreamcatcher the podcast. And this podcasting thing is something that I would have never guessed that my life would go towards. And it's awesome. It's very awesome. I look forward to it. I meet so many very awesome people around the world. And I'm very grateful for that. Also grateful that they invite us to come see them too. Mm-hmm. Got two people in Portugal that wants to come see them in Lisbon. And
we got an invitation to Ireland as well.
We do. Yes. And
we just have to be able to afford to go all these places to all these people.
Yep. So anyway, on that, I'm going to end this episode of the Dream Kitchen podcast. And like I said, I'm so grateful for all of you. Go out. If you're having a tough day, make a list of the things, even if it's as simple as a glass of water or whatever it is. There's always something to be grateful for. So on that, take care, and we'll be talking soon.
Bye.